Will this film be your new obsession? Let's rant about it. All right, welcome in for another review here today. We are taking a look at Obsession that was released in 2026. I think it said it was made in 2025 online, but don't know all the details around that. But it was released this year, so we'll go with that. All right, this film follows a guy who is really attracted to a coworker of his and really loves her, and basically goes into this kind of I don't want to say voodoo shop, but a store that sells kind of crystals and shit like that, and finds a Make-A-Wish thing where you kind of break a piece of wood and you make a wish, and he wishes that this girl that he's in love with is basically undying in love with him. And that's where the premise of the film, I think the trailer gives that all away, so no spoilers there. And then, will I say wacky shenanigans happen or horrific horror happens? I guess you have to continue with the review to find out. So, all right. So this film, I thought was a good film. It did its job. I was sitting there kind of thinking, I've seen this movie before. Nothing about it really kind of popped out there as like anything unique or interesting. I mean, the premise is interesting enough, but I think we've seen stories about obsession and things like that before. Even so much as a film, I think last year, Together, kind of had similar tones and feel to that. And that's kind of my overwhelming thoughts on this film. It felt like it's been done before, either with the tones or even the types of scares and things like that, with the movies like Together and Smile and some of the more kind of recent indie horror films or lower budget horror films. It feels like this is in that ilk, to where they do a very good job of giving you a relatively simple premise and kind of executing on that premise and not really going above and beyond kind of what they initially lay out for you. So in that regards, I will give the film kind of a kudos for that, but also kind of I wish for a little bit more in regards to that. So what the film really does well is the two leads, they play off each other very well. I think they kind of play their roles incredibly well, which I just said, so I'm reiterating the same bullshit. But yeah, you really get a sense of things spiraling, and the guy who made the wish, is first elated of the situation, but really is also very uneasy about what exactly is happening, and things eventually progress and get worse and worse and worse as the film goes on. So I thought they did a very good job at portraying that from an actor's perspective. From a kind of cinematography lighting perspective, they do very interesting things, especially with darkness in this film, where a lot of the film, the main actress is kind of drenched in darkness, and then a lot of dialogue is spewed over that. So how much of that was actually dialogue said on set, or was it dubbed over or kind of redone? Who knows? But it adds to a little bit of eeriness in the film. So I thought that did a pretty good job of giving you a good atmosphere for where the film is kind of taking place, because there aren't a lot of locations. They do a good job of kind of reining in kind of the budget in regards to that. Keep it kind of to some simple locations, not too many, and just executing again on that simple premise that they laid forward. So the one thing that I will say about kind of what I just said is I thought the film was a little bit long in the tooth in regards to the gradual progression of how things escalate throughout the film. The film does, I think, a good job of really hitting hard at the end and kind of like punctuating the end of the film. But I think I do like a gradual buildup and like building of intensity to like reach the climax of the film. But I think it does a lot of repetition of similar things kind of over and over again. I'm not feeling the strong escalation, like things are devolving and devolving, devolving, devolving. It feels like things are a little bit rinse and repeat there in the middle a little bit. That kind of got me staring at my non-watch there, kind of saying, all right, when are we getting to the point at this point? Because, you're going to the same trick over and over again rather than doing something new or interesting. It does kind of up the ante here and there, but I think if it would have did a little bit different things, that kind of made things more interesting, or like, oh, that's a new kind of tweak rather than kind of the same thing, like her just freaking out or acting weird. Um, it would have kind of kept my attention more. But once it decided to hit the third act, it does kind of go kind of batshit crazy a little bit, and things escalate. So I think give it kind of kudos for the end. I think it ends pretty well. That being said, the film is very predictable. As I said, it felt like I've seen this movie before, and again, I could feel where all the actions are going, where all the consequences for the decisions being made, etc., things like that. Um, nothing will shock you. Nothing will come out of nowhere, especially if you're a seasoned horror film watcher. I don't think anything will kind of surprise you with the direction that the film goes after you watch the initial setup of the film. So that's kind of unfortunate for that, because it would be nice if it kind of turn the coin, or whatever phrase you want to use, if it flipped the coin on like what your expectations should be. So yeah, so this film overall is a fun enough film. I think it's a good beginning of summer horror film. It's getting a lot of good press and a lot of good kudos on it, and it just kind of it's, as like I said, similar to the fare of horror films that we've been seeing lately that are getting positive reviews. People like these simple premises that really get executed on and start moving forward. So check it out if you can. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 uh, for that. So a positive end review, but I kind of wish it would have did a little bit more to subvert expectations throughout the film and really escalate more in new and interesting ways rather than kind of rinse, recycle, and repeat as it went throughout. So, all right. Well, let me know what you think of the film. Did you check it out this weekend, or in the preview on Thursday or today? Yeah. Do you like these kind of horror films? Do these kind of horror films work for you? Uh, what do you think of the review structure? Let me know anything. I haven't gotten a single fucking comment from any of you guys. So just even write first. Who cares? Isn't that still a thing on YouTube's, or commenting just first? Whatever. Any engagement would be fun, but no worries about it. It's all good. I do this for fun. I enjoy analyzing film and getting my thoughts out there. So, all right. Well, as always, if I don't see you again, bye forever.